My mother abandoned me the second I turned 18, and I can't thank her enough for it. I was 7 when my mom married Victor. My biological father vanished to Costa Rica years earlier, dodging an embezzlement indictment. Victor was decent at first, occasionally taking me to the batting cages on weekends. But when my half-sisters, Isabella and Olivia, were born, the house dynamic turned brutal. Overnight, I became a live-in servant. I ate leftover spaghetti standing at the sink while they sat at the formal dining table. I missed Friday night football games to enforce the girls' bedtime routines, while my parents attended upscale wine tastings. By 15, the exclusion was blatant. One freezing Sunday, I came downstairs at 8:30 a.m. to an empty house. No note, no text message. They finally rolled in around 9 p.m., hauling massive shopping bags from a Vermont ski resort. 7-year-old Isabella sprinted inside, screaming about how fun the snowmobiles were. I just stared at my mother pulling off her expensive gloves. Refusing to make eye contact, she muttered that they assumed I had a history project and didn't want to distract me. I hadn't mentioned any project all year. The breaking point hit right after my 17th birthday. While looking for batteries in Victor's home office, I accidentally woke his computer monitor. Displayed prominently was a signed purchase agreement for a downtown Chicago penthouse, closing 3 days after my high school graduation. I scrolled down to the architectural floor plans. 3 bedrooms, a master suite, a massive room labeled Isabella, and one for Olivia. There was no 4th bedroom, no guest room. They were selling our house and planning to abandon me the second I turned 18, without a word of warning. I didn't confront them or scream. I just plotted my escape. I worked at a lumberyard making $14.50 an hour and secretly opened a checking account at a completely different bank downtown. Every single paycheck went straight there. Over 10 months, I hoarded exactly $50,800. Skipping traditional college, I researched trade schools and locked onto a grueling commercial diving academy out in Seattle. I called admissions in April. If I paid up front and passed the intense physical, I could join the July cohort. I passed my medical exam on a Thursday afternoon, skipping 4th period. My mom never even asked where I was. With my July 8th start date firmly locked, I slowly gutted my bedroom. A duffel bag here, a heavy box of tools there. My coworker Ethan let me stash everything in his heated garage. I'd pack my canvas bag every morning, pretending it was just heavy school books, and drop the gear off right after my shift. My mom only noticed my empty bookshelf once. I effortlessly lied, telling her I donated old books to the library for a tax write-off. Victor actually patted my shoulder and praised my financial maturity. 4 days before my flight to Washington, I got an unexpected direct message from my estranged uncle Jonathan, my biological dad's brother. We met at a rundown diner off Interstate 90. He slid a thick manila envelope across the sticky table, containing a cashier's check for $18,500. He explained my dad had smuggled the cash to him before fleeing, explicitly instructing him to hand it over only when I was old enough to escape my mother's orbit permanently. I broke down crying right into my hands. The waitress quietly dropped off extra napkins. I told Jonathan about the diving academy. He smiled sadly and told me to build a life they could never touch. On the morning of July 4th, while they attended a lavish country club barbecue, I executed my exit. I didn't write an emotional 4-page letter. Instead, I left a single item resting directly on the kitchen island, a printed copy of their new penthouse floor plan with a thick black circle drawn around the missing 4th bedroom. I left my house keys resting dead center inside that circle. My Uber arrived at 1:15 p.m. I was already boarding my flight by the time they pulled into the driveway. Now 3 months into my diving certification, I live in a peaceful apartment near Puget Sound. I hadn't heard a single word from my mother until yesterday afternoon. She left a frantic, sobbing voicemail. Victor's firm was aggressively audited for federal tax fraud. All their assets were frozen. They completely lost the penthouse deposit, and they were facing eviction on Friday. She begged me to call her back, pleading to know if I had any savings to help them secure a cheap rental. I deleted the voicemail, blocked her number entirely, and zipped up my wetsuit for my afternoon dive.